This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Hello and welcome back to the show. We are excited. Megan Basl joining us here, a functional nutritional therapist practitioner at Bend Your Nutrition. How are you doing today, darling?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Excited to have you back here. Can't believe it. Wow. Another podcast. And today, we're going to break down food sensitivity, which I think a lot of us suffer from, may not even know about it. But also, some people might not even know about you and what you do. So tell us the work that you do in your virtual nutrition space, in a sense. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So I am a functional nutritionist, which means I try to get to the root cause of people's chronic health issues. And I do specialize in digestive issues and food sensitivities, which, like you said, we'll be talking about today. But really, I can work with any health condition, and I practice virtually and in person. So for those distance clients, I can definitely see them as well.
Beautiful. And you're helping people holistically with nutrition, right? And really
Yeah.
helping them learn, some of the bad habits, get away from. And we've talked a lot about, some tolerances, all the specific tests we can do. And, clearly you're here to help people find they're healthy and they're happy, as you say. And we're going to start today to
hmm
talk more about some of the things that could be affecting us and can food itself, even healthy food, make us sick and feel unwell?
Yeah, which is really tricky because, people can eat a very healthy diet and think that they're doing all the right things, which they probably are. But when our body's out of balance, we can develop a food sensitivity. And so it could even be, like you said, to healthy foods like blueberries or broccoli. And so that can make it really tricky when people are trying to figure out their health issues. And so that's where food sensitivity testing can come in and really help us figure out exactly what foods are causing inflammation in the body.
Wow. All right. Well, also, just want to ask, what is healthy food? Just tell me what people think healthy food is. I think healthy food are vegetables and fruits, but then they're organically grown, and that confuses people first. So just tell us what healthy food even is or should be.
Yeah. So really, I mean, you want to eat as much variety in your diet as possible. You want to have good quality protein foods. So things like grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chickens, and wild-caught fish. Those are really good, healthy proteins. Having a variety of vegetables, and you kind of want to focus on more of the low starch, low carb veggies, just because those help keep blood sugars in check and really provide us a lot of antioxidants and nutrients and good fiber. And then we can have some starchy veggies too, which are still healthful. We just don't want to have those in excessive amounts. Um, and then having good quality fats, so healthy fats in our diet, like nuts and seeds, the good oils like avocado oil, olive oil, coconut oil, things like that.
All right. So how do we develop these food sensitivities? Are we born with them? Are they acquired or both?
Good question. So they are acquired. Usually, it can be
Oh, wow.
from the health of our gut. So if our gut is out of balance,
Okay.
that can cause us to develop food sensitivities because the gut is compromised, essentially.
Wow.
And so there's something called leaky gut. I don't know if you've heard of that, but
Yes, I've heard
basically
leaky gut
our
syndrome. I've
um,
always heard of that. I'm not sure what that is. It always confuses me.
yeah. Yeah, so there's these tight junctions in our intestinal lining, which are kind of supposed to be like this, like really tight. And after things like gut imbalances or not chewing your food enough or poor digestive function, we don't have enough digestive enzymes and enough bile and things that are going to break down our food, that can all penetrate that intestinal lining and cause it to get a little leaky or torn. So instead of being tight like this, it kind of goes like this. And so then we have these larger pockets where food particles can actually go through those little tears and get into the bloodstream.
Wow.
And then the immune system says, hey, you're not supposed to be here, and sees that food particle as an antigen. And then it mounts a response and attacks. And that's where once it attacks, we get this cascade of inflammation. And so that is how food sensitivities are formed. And most
Wow.
people, also, if they're foods that they eat the most, those are the ones that are likely to become a sensitivity. And so if you
Wow.
consume something every day, eventually that little food particle could get through that intestinal lining if you have a leaky gut.
Ooh. It's like I'm just feeling it. Ugh. But we can develop these sensitivities at any time. I mean,
At any time in life. So that's why we always say, have a varied diet as much as you can, rotate foods as much as you can, so then you hopefully won't develop that sensitivity. And
yeah.
then also just making sure your gut health is so robust and strong that you hopefully won't develop that sensitivity down the road. But most people do have sensitivities, but the question is it causing you inflammation? Is it causing you to have uncomfortable symptoms? And if so, then that's where you want to make sure we figure that out so we can correct it.
Got it. All right. Well, this is interesting because now I'm a little confused though. Is the same thing, is a food allergy then like the same as food sensitivity or are they different?
They are different. So, but the immune system is involved in both. But a
Okay.
food allergy, likely you would know if you had a food allergy by the time you're an adult because you've probably been exposed. Food sensitivities, as we discussed, can form at any time in life. And so food allergies actually occur in the tissues. So you get things like hives and throat swelling, where sensitivities can create symptoms anywhere in the body and present however it wants to in the body. So that could be skin issues for some people. It could be joint pain for some, or headaches, or digestive symptoms like bloating and gas and constipation, um, mood imbalances, sleep disturbances. I mean, it really could be anything. And so that's kind of the difference is the classic allergy is you're allergic to that food. You get the anaphylaxis, the throat closing up, the hives, the itchiness, the red swelling, whereas food sensitivities could be anything.
Got it. All right. Thank you. Good to know. Also, let's move on over and talk a little bit about the food sensitivities. What are all the symptoms with this, if you don't mind? And by the way, so at any time in our life, we could develop this. And how do we know? What are some of the signs? Sorry if I'm jumping ahead.
No, that's okay. So really, if you have any uncomfortable symptom, it could be from a food sensitivity. So if you have kind of tried to figure out what's going on with your health and you can't figure it out, it could be due to a food. And so, again, likely if we eat foods all the time, eventually that food could turn into a sensitivity if we do not rotate the diet and if we don't have good gut health. And so, again, symptoms, excuse me, could be joint pain, headaches, skin issues, digestive imbalances, really anything that the body wants to present. And it's that inflammation is presenting as a symptom.
Got it. Got it. All right. So, by the way, if you are just tuning in, I want to remind you we are here with our friend and our functional nutritional therapist practitioner, Benji Nutrition, based out of Oregon, but she's worldwide helping people holistically and really feel more confident in your own body, your own skin, feel better, get rid of that bloat, that pain, and really get on track with a new diet, a new lifestyle. And with her lab tests and all, we're going to talk to you about these food and allergy sensitive tests she can do. She can really help bring you back to normal, right? To get that body stable where we want to be. Today's conversation all about food sensitivity. So listen up, and we're going to talk more about, why it's even important to know what our body's sensitive to.
Yeah, so if we have this inflammation, we're going to have a symptom, right? So, A, you want to get rid of those uncomfortable symptoms. Most people do anyway. Also, if we have this inflammation that's lingering in the body, what is that doing over time? Well, inflammation is one of the leading causes of disease. So,
Yep.
over time, if the body is in this state of inflammation, what is that going to do to your health long term, right? And so, when we don't know that, it can compromise that long term health. Also, when the immune system is in overdrive
Yep.
because remember I said it's an antigen, right? It's seeing those foods as an antigen. So every time you eat, let's say blueberries,
Yep.
and you're sensitive to blueberries, your body is going to mount a response and send out inflammation. And so you're going to feel that symptom. Well, over time, the immune system is going to get wiped out either, like wiped out to where it's not going to function, you're going to feel crummy, or it's going to stay in this overdrive symptom and eventually wipe out. But when it's in that hyperdrive, then that's how people can potentially form an autoimmune condition
Got it.
because the body gets
Oh,
confused and will eventually start attacking its own tissues because it's like, hey, are you an antigen? Are you an antigen? And so it gets confused, and that's when autoimmunity can form for some people. And that's what we don't want, is we don't want the body to get to that point where now we have these autoimmune conditions, which leads to more symptoms and potentially more autoimmune conditions and more inflammation, more poor health. So that's really what we want to avoid. And that's why figuring out what you're sensitive to can be really, really powerful to help heal your body.
oh, all right. Well, we're going to talk about that too and the steps to get there with your help and guidance, of course. But we can heal. Is it true that we can?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the goal when we remove the foods, well, the goal is to figure out what you're sensitive to and then remove those foods
Mm-hmm.
from the diet. And by doing that, you do that for a time. I mean, ultimately, we don't want to have such a narrow diet. Like I said, we want a wide variety.
Yep.
So when people are like, oh my gosh, I can't eat this food ever again, that's not necessarily true. It's that we want to heal your body from that sensitivity and then bring it back into the diet. So when we remove it, it allows the immune system to take a break. It can take a breath, can calm down and
Ah,
relax because that where what was
okay.
causing it to fight all the time is no longer present. And so we let the immune system calm down, we let it strengthen back up, and then we heal and seal that intestinal lining that was all leaky.
Yep.
And then hopefully that will prevent new sensitivities from forming down the road. And after a time, usually a 3 to 6 month period, we can reintroduce that food and see how does the immune system respond now? Is it still overactive or is it okay with that food now? And if it is, if you do have symptoms, that doesn't mean you still can't ever have that food. It just means that the body, the immune system needs more time to calm down and strengthen. And so we remove it for a longer period, maybe another month or two, and just see how your body responds at that time when you reintroduce it.
Great. Would you mind giving us some examples? I would love to hear about the clients you're working with and how you've helped them with their food sensitivities and really making their lives so much better.
Yeah.
Painless, healthier, all the above.
Yeah, thank you. So most people I find do heal from their sensitivities. I have had a handful of people that still struggle with reintroducing certain foods. When they eat those foods, they can feel a little crummy still, but the majority can heal from them and are able to reintroduce them later. But I had well, my personal example is I had a sensitivity. So the test actually that I do test for chemical sensitivities as well. And I had a sensitivity to caffeine. And so I was getting like heart palpitations and feeling like crashed in the afternoon. And I wasn't drinking like crazy amounts of caffeine, but I was having a couple cups of coffee a day. And I found out I had a sensitivity to caffeine. I removed it from my diet. And I have no desire to bring caffeine back into my life because I feel
Really?
so much better without it. Yes.
Oh God, I'm feeling guilty for drinking. Don't look. I have my
No, don't
coffee.
feel guilty. I still drink decaf, which
Okay.
still has a tiny bit of caffeine, but
Okay.
yeah. So that was a personal example for me. But I had a young man that was really into like working out and had a lot of skin issues and things. And one of his sensitivities was flaxseed. And I'm like, what young man is consuming flaxseed? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, what is he eating? Anyways, turns out he was putting flaxseed in his smoothies, and which is really healthful. Like, flaxseed is great, it's a good source of
Okay.
fiber and healthy
Okay.
fats. And it was causing him, it was his highest food sensitivity because he was consuming too much of it. And his body was saying, this is too much. So that was really interesting. And then I had another client that was consuming I think it was like one of those veggie powder, like veggie fruit powder things that she was mixing with water. And she was sensitive to apples. And she's like, I really don't eat a lot of apples. Like, it's kind of weird. And I was like, well, it can be from past exposure. Like maybe when you were a kid, you were eating a lot of apples, who knows? And so then come to find out, she was looking at her uh, uh, what am I trying to say? Ingredients, thank you, on her food label, and sure enough, there was apple powder in it, and she had no idea. And so it was just one of those things that we checking ingredient labels is huge when we're trying to figure out food stuff for people, but you don't always know or think that something like apple powder or flaxseed would cause you inflammation, but it can. And so that was two examples. And now the clients can reintroduce those foods, and like I said, most of the time people feel okay. But I've had clients that have had sensitivities to lettuce, and they have a salad again, and they're like, oh, I don't feel so good when I eat it. So it just depends on the person and the body, but most of the time people can reintroduce those foods just fine.
Oh my goodness. And is it true that food sensitivities can change and develop over time as well?
Yes. Yep. And like I said earlier, we pretty much
Like,
all probably have a sensitivity, but it just depends on if it's causing you inflammation or not. So that's where we want to investigate it and make sure your gut is really healthy. And if you have those uncomfortable symptoms, why? That's my job, is to figure out the why. And sometimes it can be dose dependent too. Like some people can have, um, a sensitivity to something if they overconsume it, and
mm-hmm.
sometimes just a little bit is fine. And that goes for reintroduction as well. When we reintroduce foods, if they have a cup of blueberries, let's say, they may feel crummy, but their body can tolerate a half a cup of blueberries. So it's really kind of fine tuning that as well. But just knowing what you're sensitive to in general is very powerful and can help your body heal.
Beautiful. What else did you want our listeners to know about this and why Ben Nutrition can help with this whole process? And it's pretty simple what you do. I mean, as far as it's not too time consuming to have your meetings, to talk, to send the kit. Could you just explain a little bit about the process?
Yeah, so what makes the process I do unique is that I combine the food sensitivity test that I'm talking about with a stool test. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason for that is because we want to figure out, why is the gut out of balance, or is it out of balance? Maybe it's not. But if you have food sensitivities, it's because your gut is out of balance. That's how they form, right? That leaky gut, and the things that are creating the environment for food sensitivities to form is based on the health of the gut. And so we want to figure out, are there imbalances in the digestive system? And I
Yep.
do that through a stool test, and I send a test kit to the person's house, and they do the kit at home and then ship it back to the lab. And then the lab sends me the results. And what we do is we go through that together and figure out, where is the gut out of balance? Do you have yeast overgrowth, or bacterial overgrowth, or fungal overgrowth, or I already said fungal, parasites? Do you have intestinal inflammation? Do you have poor digestive
Yep.
function? Like, is your
Mm-hmm.
body not breaking your foods down enough, which can create food sensitivities? So there's all these different markers that we look at to investigate the health of the gut. And
Oh my
then
goodness.
we bring in that food sensitivity test at the same time. So while we are healing the gut, we're also removing those foods from the diet to allow that immune system again to calm down, take a breath, and then we heal that intestinal lining. So we use supplements to correct the gut imbalances, and we use supplements to heal that intestinal lining. And that really allows the whole body to rest and heal and function better. And the goal is then for the gut to be robust and strong, have enough good bacteria so you don't have issues in the future, and then heal from those sensitivities, and then reintroduce them down the road to make sure the body can tolerate them again. And then hopefully you won't develop new sensitivities because we've done all that healing work.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Wow, wow, wow. All right. We still have more time here to chat. And do you want to talk a little more about Ben, your nutrition, some of the other services you provide, or more about what this type of nutritional therapy can do for you?
Yeah, so I do nutritional coaching too. So sometimes, people are not ready to do testing, which is fine. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
that we can do around the diet. Um, but there's so much that you can't, there's only so much you can do for some people. So we can work on the diet initially and see how people feel. A lot of people can get more energy and have better sleep, and a lot of digestive issues can be corrected from modifying the diet, because sometimes it is just a food that's not maybe a sensitivity, but it's a food that just is causing you to feel crummy, or, removing some of those processed foods from the diet to help people realize that the whole foods that we're eating are what serve us and fuel us in the right way. And so really modifying the diet can be
Mm-hmm.
a huge change for people that is really beneficial. So I do that as well. And I can do that virtually over the phone, or via video, and help people, walk them through. And we can do baby steps. It doesn't mean that food has to change overnight. Like, I meet people where they're at and try to help them make these little changes over time. And then other people are more gung ho and they're like, give me everything. I want to do it now. So I have like a 2-week dietary cleanse program that we can kind of remove inflammatory foods from the diet that are the typical inflammatory foods, and see how people do without those foods. How do they feel? How's their energy?
Wait, what are some of the most typical, the most common foods that are gonna, give us that swelling and that irritability?
So grains is a big one,
Uh-huh.
especially gluten grains, but any grain can be
Okay.
inflammatory for some people. Dairy is a big one,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and sugar is a big one.
Oh my goodness. Oh, those things we should be avoiding. And just curious, when you hear dairy, then I get confused because some people then change from regular milk, but then they go to oat milk, or what is the better milk to have if we're speaking of dairy milk in general? Because then it gets confusing. There's almond milk, there's oat milk, and it confuses me.
Yeah. So there are the plant-based milks, which, some are better than others. The problem is many of them have fillers and things in them. So
Mm-hmm.
they can have these thickening agents that are not
Yep.
really healthful for us. Some have added sugar, which then you're getting more sugar in. And so if you're going to have a plant-based milk, just I would check labels. Like, I buy an almond milk that's organic and has water, sea salt, and almonds. That's it.
Right.
And so the more simple, the better. The less ingredients, the better. Ingredients you can read are important. Um, and then the oat milk, that can be okay on occasion. I'm not a huge fan of it as a daily, just because it can spike your blood sugar more because it's coming from grains. And oats are a grain. And so those turn into sugar in the body, whereas like almond or coconut milk is going to be a healthy fat. So it's not going to have that same blood sugar spike that oat milk would.
Okay, got it.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then overall, if you're having actual dairy, you want to go for whole milk products, because that's going to offer you the whole healthy fats versus low fat, no fat, reduced fat. Those are usually usually low fat products and no fat products need sugar to make them taste better, because fat actually makes things taste good. So when we remove the
Guilty.
fat, yeah, there's probably more sugar. Like, if you look at low fat yogurt and stuff, there's probably like
I
added
know.
sugar in it.
But then it's like, all right, but there's protein. Wait, there's fiber. You're tricked. And these food labels, and someone in your field, what do you say about food labels? I mean, have they made them better? Like, because it gets confusing.
It does get confusing. And I think, yes, I feel like they are better to some extent. Like, they'll say if there's added sugars in there now, they'll say, I think some even say if there's I don't know if they I don't know if they talk about sugar alcohols, but in general, I feel like they are better, but they're still confusing. So 3 ingredients or less is kind of a good, or five
Yeah,
or less if you're really stretching it, is a good rule of thumb.
good.
If there's sugar in the first 3 ingredients, it's probably high in sugar. But reading labels, learning to read labels is a really important way to help your health overall. So you know what you're putting in your body.
Gosh. Wow, wow, wow. And you suffered. Could you just share your story for those that may not know with, with your own personal problem that led you here in a sense down this path and journey of helping others?
Yeah, yeah. So I had some digestive issues when I was younger in college. I had a skin issue. I just had a one little cystic acne pimple that didn't go away, but it was bothersome to me. I went to a dermatologist. They put me on antibiotics, and I was on them for probably over a year, which is crazy to even say out loud. And it totally wrecked my gut. I ended up getting SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So I had some bloating, like my abdomen looked bloated a lot at the end of the
Wow.
night. I sometimes
Mm-hmm.
looked 6 months pregnant. Um, and so that was something that was uncomfortable to me, and even had some bowel issues as well that coincided with that. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had to investigate what was going on with me. And sure enough, I had that small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And it took me a long time to get my gut healed, but I
And
did. And it's better than ever. And, you really just, you have to be patient. You have to know that it can be corrected. But if I were to have gone to, just conventional doc, they probably would have said, "Oh, you have IBS.
yep,
It's what it is. You're gonna have to deal with it."
I do that all the time. Well, thank you so much for being here, for joining us, Megan. We appreciate your time and how you're helping people. Now, would you
Thank you
mind
so
sharing how we
much.
can contact you?
Yes, you can email me at megan@bendyournutrition.com, or you can visit my website, bendyournutrition.com. And I offer complimentary consultations over the phone, about 20 minutes. So feel free to reach out to me and we can chat and kind of figure out if I'm a good fit to help you.
And Megan spelled Megan.
Yes,
All right. Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Have a great day. Always a pleasure seeing you. Enjoy, stay healthy,
Thank
and
you.
stay away from the caffeine. Oh, my class, I forget it, like disappears. Sorry. But yeah, I'll try my best. Caffeine free.
Yes.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share. This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.